Wrestling fans, are you ready?
We're here.
Welcome in, wrestling fans, to the show for the people, by the people. I am your babyface, Michael Mercado, and as always, with the best in the business, the best heel in the business, Big John Vic. Big John.
BWO. All I gotta say is you gotta respect it for life. The Magic Man, the one and only Mike Mercado. Big John Vic here on 1240 AM WSBC, 1470 AM WCFJ, and on the JDS Radio Network at www.nativefamilyradio.com. You got something to say, you come and chat it up in the Native Family Radio. I don't care what you got to say. And I'll start it off by right now saying, the Undertaker streak, it's a farce, and I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to throw it right back to the Magic Man.
And we're going to talk about that real soon, Big John, because what is it? It's Wrestlemania time. It's right in front of us. It's dawned upon us, and big guy, it's Wrestlemania 30. So many interesting matches that I want to get into. But before we get into that, if you guys, I know you guys are listening to us, are diehard wrestling fans. So keep the conversation going on Twitter at WC Wrestling Talk, or at Big John Vic, or at Mercado2333. We're going to be watching everything WrestleMania, from the pre-show to the post-show. It is the greatest time as a wrestling fan, don't you think?
It really is. 30 years of entertainment at its best for children, men, women of all ages, hillbillies in every trailer park you could think of. WrestleMania 30 years celebration. Hulk Hogan, brother, is hosting it. I got to tell you, I have goosebumps as we speak at this pre-WrestleMania show.
So before we get started about WrestleMania 30, the quick premise of Windy City Wrestling Talk is we're going to talk everything wrestling, from the independent scene at the VFWs to Ring of Honor to TNA on Spike TV to the World Wrestling Entertainment and its network. I think wrestling in itself is one of the best genres out there when it comes to any type of entertainment, athletic entertainment that you have. And I feel like we're a kind of a group that doesn't get recognized enough. So this show is for that. It's for the greatest city in the world, the Midwest, with the hospitality that we have, knows wrestling. Knows collegiate wrestling, knows wrestling, and that's what we're going to talk about here today.
But I'm going to tell you something right now, Magic Man. I am not going to tolerate the internet fan on this program. We're going to tell it straight. We're going to tell it like it is. And if the internet fans got something to say, you know they can message me, and you know what they can say too. Let me tell you something, okay, brother? I got to tell you, these independent scenes, I'm talking about my good friend up north, David Hero, with his Windy City Championship Wrestling, but it's he's got a nice little promotion up there, you know, up in Wisconsin, and these nice little independent promotions here in the state of Illinois. Support your indie market, man.
That's where they all come from, and it goes to, we're going into the WrestleMania
I know
part.
what it was. It was Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. My good friend David Hero. It's on top of my head. I didn't have it written down.
Hello, and speaking of anybody from the state of Illinois, How Wrestling, a local northwest suburb wrestling independent company, they're going to have a show this Saturday as well as next Saturday, so keep on Twitter. We'll give you guys, and that's one of the beautiful things about following us on Twitter, is we're going to let you know every big match, every big card that's coming around. Because wrestling's a lot like music. You know, you have your big bands that sell out the United Center, that sell out Madison Square Garden, and then you have the bands that are going to get there, that are just about the sport. And those are the guys that we really want to get involved. So after WrestleMania weeks, this is the biggest time for us here in our business.
You know, I got to tell you here, Mike. One of the independent wrestlers out there, and I'm talking about a female. I'm talking about a Melanie Cruz out there that really exemplifies what independent wrestling is all about. She's not afraid to take a chair to the back. She's not afraid to take on a guy. Melanie Cruz, if you're listening, we want you on this show.
Beautiful. Look at that plug. That is the place to go. All right, big guy, you ready to talk about Mania?
I'm ready to talk about WrestleMania number 30.
All right, here's the big one that kind of got me going. First off, there's the pre-show. Everybody knows that the WWE likes to run a pre-show before its pay-per-views. They're throwing in a 4-way tag team title match. Los Matadores, the Real Americans, Ryback, so of Curtis Axel and Ryback, and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. Now, for me personally, no matter who wins this, I personally like the Real Americans. I think there's a lot of talent in this match that's going on.
We the people.
I think it's a great match going to happen. But why is it on the pre-show? I understand you want people to hit the network early. But we're talking about tag team titles that the Road Warriors held. Heart Foundation, D-Generation X, Rock and Sock Connection, the Freebirds. I mean, we're talking about the event. The greatest tag teams of all time have held tag team titles, and it's a pre-show match. Doesn't that kind of throw you off a little bit?
You know, Magic Man, I got to tell you that this particular match, I don't care what title it is, it should not be on a pre-show. It should be in the event itself. With them putting this on a pre-show that leaves only 2 titles up for grabs in the biggest stage, and especially your 30th anniversary, every single title you have in this company should be on the main stage and not in the pre-show. I don't agree with what WWE officials did with this by moving it to a pre-show. Don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but don't agree with it.
No, and anybody who ever follows the big guy, Big John Vick, or myself knows me and him disagree about everything. I mean, we are polar opposites of everything. He is all about the authority. I'm all about the yes movement. This is where we stand when it comes to a lot of things.
Give me a freaking break.
Listen,
yes,
Fear the Beard, WrestleMania 30, all comes to fruition.
We'll
get into that.
We'll get into
okay.
a little lightweight, not even a light heavyweight, a little lightweight Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
you know, the
man.
guy shouldn't even be in a heavyweight championship and be up with the big boys that are bulked up.
Fireworks are going to hit Windy City Wrestling Talk already early, 5 minutes into the show. So going back to this tag team, though, you're talking about, you know, so much talent, so much history with this title, and it's a pre-show. And I get the pre-show when it comes to a business standpoint. You want people hitting the network early. But doesn't it diminish the value of your title when it's not on the main card? And it goes back to what you're saying. There's only 2 titles on the line at WrestleMania. And we're going to get into the Andre Memorial Battle Royal in a second, but to me, there's just, when I was growing up and when you were growing up and as we age in this and watching this business that we love, the title, people always say the title doesn't make the man, the man makes the title. The title still stands for something. So how are you going to try to sell to your fans that this title's important but it's not on the main show? I don't get it.
You know, you're better off. You already have The Miz, by the way, the most absolute scene superstar in the WWE. But you know what? And let me tell you something, I'm a big Miz fan here. But you're almost just as good as going with what you have been going with the storyline of The Miz by putting him on the pre-card and not the WWE Championship.
And at least then, though, like
Tag Championship.
Yeah, of course. And if you go in, if you're let's say you're doing a name like The Miz or somebody like Dolph Ziggler who are going to be in the Battle Royal, you give them a chance to spotlight in the pre-show. Your tag team title should be on the main show. It's a main title.
Absolutely.
But the pre-show to me should always be a showcase of somebody who isn't necessarily there yet. So what? Yeah, I agree. The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, you know, some of these guys would be great matchups. But I would be more interested in seeing a Bo Dallas versus an Adrian Neville of NXT
now,
in the pre-show.
I'm going to throw something at you. What if the WWE is going to pull the wool over everybody's eyes? You're going to have this championship pre-show. Didn't end the way my boy, the Authority, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon wanted it to end. Decides they're going to have another tag team title match in the WrestleMania event.
Really? So you think there will be a swerve like that maybe with the boys?
I'm thinking that this is just not the end of the tag team champions. I can't see WWE officials, I can't see Triple H and Stephanie McMahon putting this as a pre-show without something coming up after this. I think something's going to happen during that match, and it's not going to be decided quite blatantly. I think we're still going to see a tag team title match during WrestleMania.
Very interesting. Now, who do you have winning? I personally have the Real Americans coming out on top. I think this is their push. I think it's the way you separate a team is by giving them gold, giving them almost that blanket over your face where it's, oh, they're tag team champions. They're not going to break up. I feel the Real Americans are on their way for that last big push with them. What do you got?
I think in this match there's not going to be a contest, and I think the Usos are still going to be in this pre-match and walk out of there before WrestleMania as your tag team champions. And again, I firmly think that something's going to happen in this match that you're going to see a tag team titles, you know, whether it be, and it might be, you know, one-on-one per se, two-on-two, if you will, of the Real Americans versus the Usos in WrestleMania, because I think I just don't see as much as I like the other two.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a three-man. I mean, they haven't established themselves as a tag team.
It should be a regular two-on-two,
Yep.
Real Americans, Usos. It's the most It's the most legitimacy that you could give the tag team right now, especially when you got the Rhodes brothers out of it. You took the Shield out of it. You had a very strong division going into last year, and you took it away. Let's move on since the show. I mean, there's so much to get into about WrestleMania 30. It's
Absolutely.
ridiculous. The Battle Royal. I think the concept is really cool what's the word I'm looking for? To honor Andre, to really get this generation to understand the importance of Andre the Giant in the wrestling industry. My problem is, opposed to, I get the idea of showcasing talent that's not going to be on the show, okay? But after this match, we're down to what, 4 matches, if that? So how long, is this Battle Royal going to be? How important is it going to be after this WrestleMania? And who really needs to win it? Because I could throw out names, Big E Langston, should he win it? Well, what does that do for his career? I mean, it's different if, let's say, John Cena won the first Battle Royal. Because then there's always that precedent that the biggest name won it. Who is the biggest star? Is the Big Show considered a legitimate big star that's going to put that match over the top?
You just brought up a name that I was going to bring up, because I'll tell you what a way to really honor a giant by having a giant win the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the WWE plans on continuing this every single year in WrestleMania, having some form of Andre the Giant trophy to pass on every single year, where the winner this year will carry it to next year, and then somebody will defend it, and he will be in that Battle Royal no matter what. I think that the Big Show, whether he's a big star or not considered in fans' eyes, I think that he will win Andre the Giant Battle Royal just because he is a giant.
Okay, and I think that's a very legit.
Because, I mean, the only thing that anybody's going to get out of this is a trophy.
Yeah.
You're not getting a title match. You're not getting anything else out of it but a trophy.
So what's the gimmick, almost, to me? Like, where is the importance of it? Like, Money in the Bank, when it first came out, at first we thought it was just the gimmick of it.
You almost want to say, as much of a big star Andre the Giant was, you almost want to say, why isn't the Battle Royal the pre-show?
Yes, and that's where I was actually going to get to. Is the original thought on Bleacher Report and some of these other wrestling websites was they wanted that match to be the pre-show. And then I guess somewhere along the lines, the idea of having Andre the Giant's name on the pre-show and not on the main card kind of bothered them, especially with Hulk Hogan coming back. I doubt he has any creative control of everything, but the fact that you brought back Hogan, it almost has that different importance in it.
And by the way, let me squash any rumors out there that's been on from your internet fans about Hulk Hogan getting into the Battle Royal. Ain't happening. He has not been cleared by the doctors to wrestle.
And I think after you saw him in TNA try to wrestle Sting, the back was gone.
Right.
I think the dream match was John Cena and Hulk Hogan in a tag match versus somebody. A lot of people thought it was going to be CM Punk and Roddy
Hulk Hogan.
Piper.
Come on, Hulk Hogan was never a wrestler anyway. He's a good showmanship.
Great
That's
showman.
it.
Yeah, he established the idea of a showman into the professional wrestling.
Absolutely, but he has no wrestling skills whatsoever. A leg drop is not wrestling.
No, and actually, this is a discussion we could talk about next week. I actually feel John Cena gets a lot of unnecessary, hate towards that he can't wrestle. I was there in July 2011 at Money in the Bank between him and CM Punk, and a lot of people tell you that CM Punk was the guy who carried that match. John Cena always has great matches, whether it's the guy who he's working with or it's himself. You got to give the man credit for never leaving 12 years into the business. And we could talk about Hogan and all that, and this is why WrestleMania season is amazing.
Chicago, not a big John Cena fan. You guys can go screw yourselves, because let me tell you. Let me tell you something. You guys give some respect where respect is due. The guy can take bumps.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've seen him take bumps against Brock Lesnar that were ridiculous. I was there at Extreme Rules when he ended up having that fat elbow. And
these are the internet fans, come on, guys.
Hey, these trolls, though, that you like to call them, big guy, they are going to be the ones that helped Windy City.
Well, I want to hear from these trolls, okay? I want to see. Yeah, let's prove your point to me.
Hey, tweet us at WC Wrestling Talk. I'm at Mercado 2333, and you're at Big John Vic.
Bigg's Golf Talk.
Bigg's Golf Talk. Oh, that's right.
BIGGS Golf Talk on Twitter. So,
and a little side plug for you. That's a great show. Because of you, this show kind of had a little kickoff. Wrestling fans and golf kind of got this show off the ground. So that's pretty cool. So speaking of how awesome you are with your show, kind of that streak that you have going on. Actually, before we get to that, who do you got winning the Royal? You got the Big Show?
Big Show.
I got Dolph Ziggler. But now we're going to talk about probably the most important match of the night. I know a lot of people are going to talk about the Daniel Bryan, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista.
How's this the most important match?
The most important match is Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, because I feel like this match leads to next year. I think this whatever happens in this Undertaker Brock Lesnar fight leads
I
to
have
WrestleMania
my
31.
opinions about. I think we'll get to the Undertaker thing, but I think Undertaker's past his time.
But he does still throw down really, and again, a lot of it has to do with the people he's working with. But the Undertaker knows what
I mean,
he
when
is.
does it? I mean, how far are you gonna? The guy's almost 60 years old.
Yeah.
How far does it gonna go?
I understand. I mean, it's not Ric Flair, though.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, is he gonna go into Ric Flair age and wrestle till he's 70?
I hope not. I really hope not. I like Ric Flair. I think Undertaker has his ninja. Yeah. Okay. One. Woo! All right. So I think the Undertaker, though, he can still throw down a really good match. He could tell a story. I think the difference between Undertaker and a lot of old school guys.
I have to disagree with you. He does. He I am sorry, one of my best matches, I was going to say Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, but Undertaker really looked banged up in that match and really found it hard to go.
26 or 25?
20.
25 is on the top 5 of my list that we're going to talk about.
26 he was.
Yeah, 26 kind of picked up towards the end of that match when they kind of got the juices flowing. I agree with you. It started off really slow. But, I mean, Undertaker's on my list twice already. And a lot of it's the guys who he wrestled with. It was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And
I'll tell you what, I only have Undertaker once on my list, and I have 8.
Okay, but still, the fact that we only picked X amount of matches, and there's 30 years of WrestleMania. Undertaker's on that list, like so high up,
right.
And it goes to show that that he really has personified WrestleMania because it is a theatrical show. You know, it is the showcase of the morning. And his character was built for WrestleMania. I think the character of the Undertaker is perfect for the mystique of once a year WrestleMania. Undertaker comes together.
And I know we could talk about the conversation about part-time wrestlers. Okay. Yes, Undertaker, a legend. Yes, Undertaker, obviously a Hall of Fame guy. But still, part-time, we haven't seen him until this point, up until WrestleMania.
But I will tell you this, the Undertaker streak is what they want the Battle Royal to become. The Undertaker streak is a specific WrestleMania championship, okay? And I understand the part-timers, but he's not a part-timer like Dave Bautista, who actually has gotten himself into shape as the weeks have gone on because he's worked so many shows, but the Undertaker is that trophy. And that's why I think it's almost a Fool's Gold trophy.
By the way, I don't know if you've seen Dave Bautista's interview about his skinny-ass pants.
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, he's like, watch, I'm going to wear my skinny-ass pants every single show just for you, jack-off.
Yeah, and I believe it. I believe him. Like, he knows how to play the heel so well. And it's funny because in these movies he's playing now, he's a good guy.
Right.
And he was making fun of the internet nerds who read comic books, yet his biggest movie coming out, Guardians of the Galaxy, is a comic book movie. Just to show you a little bit.
Hey, it's all about the payday.
It is, but you know what? You can't blame these guys. They're entertainers. I get it. I personally, as a CM Punk fan, I was a little upset to see him walk away because of the whole Dave Bautista and other things. I mean, a lot of people don't think it's just him, but the idea of part-timers, I get it. But I'm a merc for The Rock. I buy into it. I'm an attitude era baby, you know?
You know what? Don't get me started on The Rock because he gave that speech right in the middle of that damn ring and said, I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not disappearing again. I'm in the WWE. I'm a wrestler. And what happens? 6 months later, where's Dwayne Johnson at?
He's not there. But
he's in Hollywood.
Yeah, and I actually have some news about The Rock and Stone Cold at the end of the show. But back to the streak, though. I think the problem that this match has specifically is there was a terrible build-up to it. Brock Lesnar's a monster. But every time we see Brock Lesnar in the main show, he loses.
You're talking about a 30-year-old jacked man.
Yeah.
You know,
fighting a 47-year-old man who should win the fight. That's the problem. They didn't sell it the right way.
No.
They didn't sell it the right way. And what made Punk versus Undertaker and the Shawn Michaels Triple H rivalry with Undertaker so well is they made you believe that these guys are on an even keel, that everything is right where it's supposed to be, that they can.
Do you ever wonder at what WrestleMania or where a point in Undertaker's career did WWE say, let's create a streak?
I don't know. I've actually thought that. It had to be after, what is his name? The Giant Monsoon?
Yeah.
I mean, Gorilla Monsoon. It had to be, you know what, here.
And by the way, that streak, is broken up. It's not consecutive.
No, it's not consecutive because he wasn't there for WrestleMania, what was it, WrestleMania... No, he was there for us. I think it was WrestleMania 21, and I think it was the Chicago.
At some point, he spent a few years...
He was out.
In WCW also.
Oh yeah, he was in WCW before as Mean Mark and
right.
with the Twin Towers with Sid Vicious.
Right.
But so wrapping this all together because we could
then
talk about this
all day. Then he came back to the WWE as a badass.
The American badass, which was cool for the Attitude Era again.
Right.
It kind of went with it. But so Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, WrestleMania 30. Whatever you want to feel about the hype leading into it, the match itself, or these guys, it's still one of the main events. So who you got coming out? I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that there's only one guy who could win this match.
Listen, this is how it's going to go down. And as much as I want to pick the 38 Jack, Brock Lesnar, who should beat him with one hand tied behind his back, but here's the bottom line. He's got a dumbass manager that's going to interfere in this match, and nobody's going to win except for The Undertaker by disqualification.
Oh, interesting. You think he wins by disqualification? I have a feeling that Undertaker will win. I have a feeling the match is going to be controlled by Brock Lesnar.
It's going to be controlled by Brock Lesnar. He's going to lay The Undertaker out, and all of a sudden The Undertaker's going to be able to come back, and that's where Heyman's going to get interfere himself into it.
But I think it's leading up to 3 guys, okay? 4 guys. Everything leads up to WrestleMania 31, Undertaker versus either John Cena, Bray Wyatt, or Sting. So those 3 things, I think everything leads up to that. I think this is almost a fill-in year because it was supposed to be Brock versus The Rock. That was supposed to be WrestleMania 30. So this almost just was put together. Okay, we could put these little heat together and let them go. So I got The Undertaker. You got The Undertaker.
Here's the thing, by the way. Nobody's heard from Sting.
No.
Okay, you would think they would bring Sting in for WrestleMania 30. I'm changing my thing for the Battle Royal. Sting wins the Battle Royal.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a real good one. I like that. That's a good one, big guy. All right, so we could talk about the women's title, the Divas Championship. I really don't want to because it upsets me because this is the definition of politics. E Total Divas and the fact that CM Punk is gone is the reason why AJ Lee is going to lose the title at WrestleMania 30. And I don't think there's anything really that needs to get discussed about that. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's pretty...
No, I think AJ Lee has really outdone her character, and I think it's getting old a little bit now. I agree. I think AJ Lee is going to lose this title. I think there's a lot more going on, especially on Total Divas with what's happening. I think they're going to put the women's title within that program and let the ladies of that program fight it out for that title. AJ Lee will no longer be the women's champion.
No, and I totally agree with you on that. John Cena, Bray Wyatt. This one has had some interesting build-up. I think the only way the story plays out the right way is if Bray Wyatt wins. John Cena doesn't need to win this match. His character doesn't need to win it. The whole legacy, it doesn't matter. John Cena's legacy...
This match is another match that doesn't even... Again, it doesn't mean anything, really. I mean, who's going to get what if they win?
It doesn't mean it. Does automatically John Cena? John Cena is always a contender in the storyline for the championship.
This is all about mind games. This is all about the mind games with the character, okay? I got to go with my Wyatt family is going to beat the hell out of John Cena and carry him out afterwards, and then we're going to find out later on what maybe John Cena will not be at Monday Night Raw. Take a week off. Maybe he's going on vacation. Maybe he's taking a couple months off. And
then come back. Maybe it's Daniel Bryan's time, which we will get to in a second because that's a good leadway to it. I have Bray Wyatt. I have to have Bray Wyatt since he gives us into the show every time we come in. So I'm going with Bray Wyatt just off of who needs to get put over. This is his time. This is when you put the guy over. He will be your new number 1 heel. He's this generation's Undertaker Kane type of character. It's really fascinating, and he doesn't need to cut long promos.
The Wyatt family, one of the strongest fractions right now. They've gone up against the Shield. They've beaten the Shield.
Which I love the Shield. Who do you have in Shield versus the Corporate Kane and the New Age Outlaws? Again, this is a match who I think is totally disrespectful towards the young talent. You're just trying to get them into the show. It's a 10-minute match that you're not going to be able to showcase Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns, who are all your future WWE World Heavyweight Champions within these 10 years.
I think you're going to see some arguments going on between the Shield. I think the Shield's going to go against each other for possibly. I don't know if they're going to break up, but something's going to happen with Seth Rollins, and something's going to happen where somebody's going to not do the right thing or something like that, or not. Somebody doesn't give the tag as we have seen in the past. But then again, I'm thinking, okay, I'm down with. Oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody.
Although I haven't forgiven them for not doing that at Monday Night Raw Chicago. But, again, it's WrestleMania 30, so you want to have the Outlaws and you want to have Kane in there for DVDs and pictures and all that. But I personally think you've seen...
Does Kane come out with the mask on?
No.
For WrestleMania 30?
I don't think so. I think that would be cool. But I think they're really pushing this Corporate Kane. I think they're really trying to see where this goes with it. I think that's Pretty much, you're gonna see him with his slacks and his belt and maybe a day goatee, and that's about it. Like it's.
You know how I say it's respect for life? I say you have to believe in the Shield. The Shield beats.
I have the Shield winning, but I will not be surprised at all. The only way I see them breaking up is if Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins walk out on Roman Reigns because he was controlling the match.
Roman Reigns has to, at some point, go out as a individual. He's just too strong of a character to be bunched up with a fraction.
And we'll talk about, again, this is something we can talk about next week, the whole Shield aspect. I think that's a really good one to kind of talk about each individual, maybe see where their career is going. So now we get down to the two matches that really do define WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan, Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton. Let's just put it all together, okay? I personally believe, this is just me, I personally believe Daniel Bryan loses to Triple H in the beginning of the show.
No.
And what happens is Daniel Bryan is going to get inserted in there by Hulk Hogan. Okay, and I feel like that's the way the storyline goes in after, where it's the Authority versus the Yes Movement, whatever they decide to call it at that point. But I feel the story doesn't work out. WrestleMania 30 doesn't end unless there's a surprise like Daniel Bryan's back in it, and then the yes cheers happen at the end of the show.
Here's what's going to happen. Triple H is going to beat the hell out of Daniel Bryan. He's going to win that match. But yeah, I think one red and yellow man's going to come out there. Yeah, eat your vitamins, say your prayers. Yeah, the all-American hero, whatever.
Helping to fear the beard. I love it.
Yeah, whatever. Hulk Hogan, sure. Hulk Hogan, I think is going to use his hosting and say no, because Stephanie McMahon interfered with Triple H's match, and therefore Triple H may not even be able to continue into the championship match. Therefore, Hulk Hogan puts Daniel Bryan into the championship. I think, yes, Daniel Bryan. Oh, did I just say that word?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Oh, my God, I have a headache already. Yes, that bearded, goated man is going to be in the championship match, and I really hope Randy Orton kicks his head off his neck.
Who do you have winning? Who do you have coming out of WrestleMania 30 champion?
Dave Batista.
Okay. Actually, you know what? That's actually, you wouldn't bring him back unless you really did want to put him in that title run.
Yeah.
I personally believe there will be a yes moment where you put him back in the match. I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Batista.
I think the Authority is frustrated with Orton, and I think Dave Batista will be the new face of the Authority.
Very interesting. How about a swerve? How about if Daniel Bryan becomes the face of the Authority?
Oh,
just saying.
That's just not going to happen. I mean,
I understand.
Just see him. I mean, look how disappointed people were when he turned his back on the fans. And nobody knew that he did that on purpose just to get in.
The family. Yeah. The White family. But I'll tell you this. Sometimes the best time to turn somebody is right when they're... The Rock did it. The Rock was at his hottest, and they turned him to the corporate champion. Sometimes turning heel is the best thing to happen to a person's career. Hulk Hogan is the perfect example. When you turn heel, it's all about it. So I have Daniel Bryan coming out champion, in a swerve coming out heel. You have Dave Batista, the Animal, coming out the new face of the Authority.
That's right.
So now we've had all this WrestleMania moments. We both have Bray Wyatt coming out on top. We both you have the Usos, I have the Real Americans. We both know AJ Lee is coming out non-champion. You have, for some reason, the Intercontinental United States are in the Battle Royal, but we both have the Giant winning. I have Dolph Ziggler as a dark horse. The Shield coming out on top. Very predictable WrestleMania. We don't even need to talk about Undertaker or Brock Lesnar, because that one I feel leads to WrestleMania 31. But all this leading up to a Daniel Bryan moment or Batista moment, Randy Orton moment, what are your top 5 moments in WrestleMania? There's so many of them. What are your top moments?
I actually have 8 of them. I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you all the way from bottom to top. Edge versus Foley in WrestleMania 22.
Chicago, great one.
Fiery, a lot of fire tables in that.
Yeah,
absolutely a good one. Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Randy Savage versus the
Ricky
Ultimate Warrior.
Ooh.
WrestleMania 7.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that one. Okay.
Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
Yes. WrestleMania
10.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Undertaker versus Ric Flair, WrestleMania 18.
Really?
Yes.
That was a good one. And that was the one in, I believe, what is that, Safeco Field?
And I think that was the turnaround where they decided we got to continue this undefeated streak.
Yeah. You think so?
Because I really thought Ric Flair would have beat him in WrestleMania 18.
That was a good match, though. WrestleMania 18 kind of continued on that whole... That was the Triple H year. The year Triple H beat Chris Jericho on there. Oh, hey, go ahead.
Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
When
The great one,
obviously-
Iron Man.
Yep. Savage versus Flair.
Yes,
That
when
was-
Flair was champion.
WrestleMania 8. And finally, this has to be my number one moment. If you're a wrestling fan, a number one moment. Shawn Michaels retiring Ric Flair for good.
Great moment.
WrestleMania 24, the greatest moment out of 30 WrestleManias. That is my choice.
Very nice. Very quickly for me, number 5 was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13, the start of Austin 316. You have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Randy Macho Man Savage. I thought it was a great, fantastic match. I have Edge versus Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22 in Chicago. My number 2, you might think I'm a little crazy, it's Undertaker, Triple H, Hell in a Cell.
Get on.
I think for 40 minutes, they put on a match, and you know what sold it more? Was knowing, growing up for me, is seeing those 3 guys. And then the way when...
That was the first Hell in a Cell, wasn't it?
The first Hell in a Cell was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood.
That's right.
And then Triple H and Undertaker kind of parallel each other throughout their careers in Hell in a Cell. And just to culminate where you have Shawn Michaels super kicking him, and it was a great match, for me personally, but the greatest match of all time, WrestleMania, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart against Shawn Michaels in the Iron Man match that goes into sudden death. I think that was a clinic. 60 minutes of watching 2 guys wrestle, put on a show, and tell you a story.
I agree.
I think it's fantastic.
I agree. I don't know if it's my number one, but I agree. It was definitely a wrestling match. It was definitely a clinic, and it just exemplifies 2 superstars that really had the heart of wrestling.
I like it. Now, I told everybody before we got out of here, 2 big surprises. One, Stone Cold Steve Austin, breaking news, was and has confirmed that he will be live at WrestleMania 30.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Austin 316 will be there. And rumor is that The Rock will make an appearance at WrestleMania 30 via satellite or live, depending on his movie schedule. So keep an eye on that. And I had one guest that I want to tell you, okay? April 6th, Superdome, New Orleans, WrestleMania 30. You will hear Static Hear the Arena, and the best in the world will come out.
No way.
I'm telling you right now, CM Punk will be here.
You're sick.
You're sick. Big guy.
You're sick.
How much fun did we have today?
Oh, we had absolutely lots of fun. And I want to tell everybody out there, make sure you follow us on Twitter, man. We're all here to entertain you, bringing all you the information about the indie circuit and everything else from TNA to WWE. We didn't get to touch on TNA today. That is because it is WrestleMania 30 weekend here on Windy City Wrestling Talk. But listen, be sure to follow us on Twitter. Email us as well, WindyCityWrestlingTalk@gmail.com. And hopefully we'll get a website up as well.
We're going to be doing that this weekend. You can listen to us on WSBC 1240 AM Chicago, WCFJ 1470 Chicago Heights, and the JDS Radio Network.
That is correct, at nativefamilyradio.com. But listen, man, BWO, respect it for life.
Forget that. It's
I'm
all about
out.
the yes movement. For Big John Vick, I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for stepping in the square circle for us. We are here at Windy City Wrestling Talk. We will see you next week. Enjoy WrestleMania. Bye, guys.